everyone. Well, I think I've put off projects as long as I can with all this amazing weather. And the project is going to be just replacing my VHF radio. That's the large radio that's in the cabin here. I've chosen the replacement radio, and I picked this Standard Horizon GX 1700 model. And there's two reasons I chose this model. One is that it has a built-in GPS with its own antenna, so it also has a compass page, and I think you can actually even put waypoints in it. I'll have to double check that. The second reason that I chose this model is that it has a remote access mic. That means that this will go into a plug out in the cockpit, and you can see that it also has controls for choosing your channels, volume. Well, for starters, let's take a look at the old radio, and I'll show you where I'm going to put the new unit, which is actually just going to be the same location. And then I'll show you where I'm going to be putting the remote access mic. So if we go over to the nav station here, my VHF radio is tucked away right under here. I like this location, and all the wires and cables are already there, so I just need to mount the new unit in the same spot. I think recently, or maybe during the race, or sometime over the winter, this got pulled loose, so it's not transmitting. It can still receive. And it's such an old unit, I thought I would just replace it anyways, and I really do want that remote access mic in the cockpit anyways. So, time to go. Well, before I start cutting any wires or doing any work related to my DC system, I'll turn the batteries off. Well, the old unit is out, and I was really shocked at the size difference between the old VHF and the new one. I think once I remove this old VHF from the boat, I might do better in the race next year. So I have lots of cord. This will be plenty to reach from the location of the main unit to where I want to mount the outside mic. So let's just go take a quick look, and I'll show you where that is going to be done. So the location that I want to mount this is right in behind here at the end of the seat. And once it's mounted, I'll be able to pull the mic up and still use it while I'm at the helm. And when I'm not using it, it'll be down in behind. I'll bring the camera over here and show you so that it's out of the way. So I plan on putting the mount over to the outboard side of the end of the seat here, and then I can have the mic hanging right here, and that way it's easy access for the helm. I get distracted way too easy. I wanted to check on the progress of James. He'd sent me an email when he was last in port. That was at Nia Bay on the Washington coast, and I'll show you guys this really neat website. It's called Vessel Finder, and because James has AIS on his boat, which not only receives but transmits, I'm able to actually track his progress and see where he's at. So this is the bottom of Vancouver Island, and this is the Juan de Fuca Strait, and where Nia Bay is, it's around here somewhere on the Washington side. That was a few days ago. Anyways, he said he was sailing out the Juan de Fuca, and he's headed down. There he is, right there. So if you have a friend that has a AIS which transmits, then you can find out how they're doing. just looking for the best route to run the cord from the remote access mic to the main unit. So I'll be right back. Oh, that was tough. Well, once you got these ties started, it's okay. But it's getting it started, which is difficult. Okay, that's the last one that I can do from the lazarette. Whew. Now I'm going to go to the companionway stairs. The last zap strap. Well, the cord is all in place now, and I've hooked it up to the main unit. And the last thing I need to do before we test it is install this ferrite core. It has to be installed on the cord closest to the mic, and that is just to help reduce interference with engine noise and electrical things like that. So I'll clip it on, and then it recommends wrapping it with electrical tape to prevent it from vibrating loose or moving on the cord. Okay, so I already have the breaker on for the new VHF. When I heard a noise outside. I've already hooked up the mic. It says you should hook the mic up prior to powering up the VHF radio. And like I mentioned, this has a built-in GPS. So there you go, if that little symbol's up in the corner, it means it already has a signal. So there's my coordinates. And it's not super fancy. It is a DSC radio, so I'm going to register that. I have to register that with Industry Canada, and then I'll get a number, and then I enter the number into this unit, and then that'll identify this boat and myself whenever this is used, or if I hit the distress button, they'll know it's me. You can also do calls to other radios if you know the number. So a specific radio you can call. So kind of neat. I haven't had one like this before. So that'll be interesting to learn a bit more about it. But I've already checked. You have to go through Industry Canada, and I've looked at their website, and it looks pretty straightforward. Just an application form and you get your number. So here's how you change your channels on this. So let's go upstairs and see if the other one's working. So it looks like we have power. And let me just get this in front to show you. So we can do the same thing up here, changing channels. It also shows my GPS coordinates there as well. And you can also use this as an intercom, so I could call down below. My boat's not that big, so I probably won't need it for that, but it's just one of the features. I think I'm going to be happy with this. I like having this out here. I don't have to have my portable out here anymore. And this is operating on the 25 watt, when I have it set for 25 watts, off the antenna at the top of the mast. Whereas before, when I used my handheld, it was just 5 watts with the tiny little antenna on the unit itself. So it wasn't that practical to use out here. I had to go down below and use the radio at the nav station. When the boat's at the marina, or I don't need to have a VHF radio up in the cockpit,
I just simply remove the mic, stow it below, and that little rubber cover there protects the connection. Well, that's it. The VHF radio project is over, and hopefully it was interesting enough that some of you are still watching the video at this point. But I did discover the hardest thing about that project was fastening a zap strap with one hand while you're almost upside down in the lazarette. The old radio had to go for sure. It just wasn't working properly when I tried it out this season, so I don't want to rely on a little handheld portable radio that's only 5 watts. Like I mentioned, I still have to register the unit with Industry Canada and get my unique number for it so that it will identify myself and the boat if I ever need to use it in a distress situation. And I'm really excited to try the setup this summer because using that little handheld portable radio wasn't that practical. It was always sitting in a cup holder or being moved around, and it wasn't that powerful. So the setup I have now is just like using the main unit but out in the cockpit with that RAM mic. So that's it. We will see you guys on the next video.